All right. Hello, everyone, to all those who are listening to the show today. Welcome to yet another session of The Gray Area, which is broadcasted on www.zalempire.com. I'm your host, as usual, the usual suspects, and I Schultz. And in the studio, we have a very, very special guest, a man who's hard to get, man who's hard to find. So we are very, very honored to have him in the studio today, who is none other than Curtly Gwindi or Uncle Curtly. Curtly, welcome to the studio.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, Ronald.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a while trying to get hold of you, but finally we are here. And
Yes,
maybe I'm gonna ask you to start by introducing yourself. Just give us a brief profile. I mean, everybody should know you by now, but for the sake of the show, we're just gonna ask you to introduce so that people know exactly who is going to be addressing today's topic in context. Yeah.
no, that's perfect. Thank you so much. And big shout out to everybody who's listening. My name is Curtly Gwindi. Like you rightly said, Ronald, I am merely just an uncle. So I'm excited to be here in the capacity. But I do hold so many hats and wear so many jackets. I basically do everything, to be honest. I'm a media broadcaster, brand influencer, public relations and communication specialist. I think I will hold it up today. Specifically today, I think I'm wearing the jacket of being a brand ambassador for Venice Menswear and Apparel, which I specifically would be showing my interest in the fashion industry today. So I'm excited to be talking about that.
What a powerful profile there. And I know that's just probably half of what you have mentioned. And maybe how do you handle and how do you manage all your hats at one go? How do you do it? There are young people um, who are who are aspiring to be like you in the near future or who are following behind you. How do you handle all those hats?
All right. I mean, first and foremost, I'm just 24 years old. I do have keen interest in all the things I do. So I think the main idea that comes with everything that I involve myself in is falling in love with it first. And you can never go wrong when you do that because you always have the zeal and the knack to wake up every morning to look forward to that particular activity, deed, or profession, or whatever it is that you're chasing in your life. And you also just have to be someone who organizes realistically, setting smart goals. So smart then comes back down to, being specific, being measurable, having attainable goals. Realistic is always me. Like, you have to just look within the space you're in as a person and say, okay, can I do this? Or is it possible? And once you realize that it's possible, you go for it with everything you have. I'm always privileged to be around people as well who motivate me constantly. So that's one of the key areas. If it's not people, it has to be specific literature, specific. These days, it's content on social media that just keeps you afloat in terms of what you use to motivate yourself. And I think that's enough a remedy for now to keep you going. I mean, it's worked for me. There's no way it shouldn't work for anybody because in this life, trust me, you touching on a lot of things sometimes derives it then throws you off the mark. But if you then zero into singleness of purpose, shout out to everybody who's doing one thing at a time and all that. That's also very great. So big shout out to everybody listening who falls in both the brackets we're speaking about today.
Interesting. You're only 24 years old. My goodness. which means the future is bright for you, man. All right.
Yes.
Hats off to you and for whatever you're doing. Okay, so we're going to dive into the show for today. And the title is So What Do I Wear? In Shona Sakando Feke. You know, the reason why we called you out is because we would regard you as one of the fashion statements or people who are trending in fashion and who know what they do in terms of fashion. So there's been a rise and a big gap between fashion from our parents, our grandparents to the us, the AMA 2000s and so forth, you know. And we thought to bring you into the studio. I mean, maybe my first question or to break the ice, what do you think of the fashion industry, particularly Zimbabwe? Maybe let's focus on the youth, the our age, the age group that you're in. Yeah, what do you think of the fashion industry in general?
The fashion industry, I mean, for me, I've seen it as a very, very slowly adapting industry, to be honest.
Okay.
We don't catch on to the trends in terms of fashion, and we always are sort of critical, or we criticize a lot of people who try and stay on the waves of what's going on internationally, which then makes us lag behind, because there's always that irk for someone to be feeling like they are being prejudiced because of what they're wearing. Be this female, I'm speaking at a very general level, so be this female and or male. But yeah, it is slow. It is it's slower than usual, but we are catching on, and
Okay.
it's going to be a matter of time until fashion as a whole is also appreciated in terms of even the recognition it deserves, because it plays a huge role in the social fabric of any country.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I would agree with you there because I attended some awards on Friday, and you find when they say red carpet formal, and you find everyone is just in a plain suit and a tie, you know. And it's just one guy who I saw who had a jacket, maybe, and a t-shirt inside, a chino pants, and some sneakers. I really appreciated that. But you
Mm.
find the generational gap will not appreciate that, you know. And um, in your opinion, how does fashion affect people's lives today? In the workplace, how is it viewed? What are some of the stereotypes that come with fashion?
Okay, so for me, the saying is always the same. I dress the way I want to be addressed.
Okay.
And this applies in any context, to be fair, and cutting across all the intersects of everything you have, every space or every scenario you have pointed out right now. If you're in the workplace, there's a certain way you need to dress to occupy a certain office. There's a certain manner in which you need to speak, for example, for you to be credited in that office. There's a certain manner in which you have to conduct and carry yourself. So, I mean, what I always believe is the first thing that, shakes the room or gets an impression out of you is always your dressing. So it's not
Okay.
necessarily supposed to be something that's in touch with the trending fashion, but something that, makes you the way like I said, essentially the way you want to be addressed. So I would say it's quite important. It's paramount for everything to just fall in that bracket, and you'll never go wrong. I also love the saying that goes, this is one of the founding fathers in the game of fashion, who is Louis Vuitton, who said, dressing well is a form of good manners.
Oh wow.
So always, would believe that putting on a set of good clothes would always get you in a good space and always credit you to be a good person.
Interesting. Fine. So maybe let's play a quick game. I'm just going to say an event, and then maybe you'd recommend. Maybe let's zero in on men. Something that you'd recommend for a man to wear on a certain event. Okay. So maybe it's um a dinner, an evening event, which is a dinner. What would you recommend for a young man to wear?
Okay, so the young man who's going out for a dinner, depending with who, but I would just keep it as open as possible. If it's a date or whether it's a corporate dinner, all the same, I think black would cut both those boundaries. It would cut across that sect. So black would be the color of the suit. Color of the shoes could be black too. Socks would fall on the gray side or charcoal gray side. Okay. Your black belt, because your black will always match your shoes. It would also work well if you have a silver or gold watch. That will always just add to the detail that you are wearing. Something that contrasts with the general theme, which is dark colors, and the buttons as well on the suit that you'll be wearing, which would be a ballroom suit, could be the same color, which is gold or silver. And taking it further up, nice fade haircut would do the trick, as well as a white shirt with a very, very well ironed, well pressed collar.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
All right. Whether you want to wear a tie or not, it's up to you now.
Okay. I like the detail of the watch, right? The silver.
The devil's always in the detail. That's how you win it. This game of fashion, that's how you win.
Is this what the ladies in the room will be looking at?
Yes. Interesting. Some people say that your shoes or your watch speak louder than your words.
Wow. Yes. Interesting. All right. And fine. Let's say you're going for a concert. Let's say Major League is in the house and it's a summer evening.
Okay, so it's a summer evening. You're trying your best to be as laid back as possible. I'd assume this event takes place on the weekend. You have the artists who are amapiano stars, racing wherever that it is. To be honest, if it's a concert, it's most probably outdoors. To be fair, whether it's indoors or out, you would have a higher inclination to dress like the artists themselves. So it's a nice, simple pair of summer shorts, pair of white socks that obviously protrude the ankle so that you can kind of see them. Okay. Depending on how lengthy you want them to be, that will be up to you. Sneakers, you get your best pair of sneakers out, whether they're plain white or psychedelic colors. You are looking at also having a summer shirt that kind of matches the mood, as colorful as possible. Or you can have a simple designer t-shirt that has the designer name on your chest. You get out your bucket hat, you put on a nice pair of original shoes. I can already see the chain dangling somewhere there, as well as a watch as per usual. If you have to add some detail to that, it would be a pair of rhinestone bracelets or stones. So there's a specific set of, I can't exactly explain them, but there's a specific set of stones that you can use, and they always have to come in twos.
Okay, interesting. I like the part where you said a pair of original shoes. But look now, Curtly.
I knew you were gonna pick that out.
No, that was really distinct, because I mean the general populace. I mean, you've got these bales coming in, and everyone is going for those. Or how many pairs of original shoes would you recommend? Say in a men's wardrobe.
One is enough. I always say this. One is enough. One of everything is enough.
One
And you
formal,
always
one casual.
yes. You always have to make sure you mix it up so much so that you get, something close to the original at times that people will never mistake it. And the one day that someone will call you out for having something fake, funny enough, you'll actually have the original because you've been so good at playing. Yeah.
Wow.
So one is always, yeah. That's my thinking.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, well played there. Well played. All right, and there has been a trend of rings, finger rings that have been trending. It could be on the thumb, on the pinky finger, all over the hands. Do you have an idea of what these rings mean? I've seen. Let's speak particularly about men, right? Apart from the marriage ring, of course. Do you have an idea of what the rings mean and what they're used for?
Yeah, so rings basically have different meanings. And for me, my understanding of firstly the pinky. So we'll start with the pinky. We know that the pinky means that you have a personal statement or something you want to commit to in terms of what you are trying to achieve, etc. So the little finger sometimes means that the person is, trying their best to communicate something, or it's a message or a statement, like I said, or it could mean that you're simply single.
Oh,
so,
no.
yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we move on to the ring finger. It means that you're in a relationship, which is a commitment, something romantic. That's basically what it stands for. And at times people actually always try their best to keep it on the left. Though at times the right, some people just do it to confuse people, but essentially that's what it means. Yeah. The middle finger means it's the tallest finger, so it obviously stands for individuality. It means you have your own chart or way of doing things. It's always divergent because when people see it, they think, "Oh, what does that mean?" etc. And it means that you're a responsible person and you want to obviously portray that you have your purpose in life and you figured it out. Perhaps you may even say that, go so far as to say that I don't need anybody Yes. And then you move on to the first finger, which is it's not the index. What do they call it? Okay, I know it as the leadership finger. So number one, that one, it means that you are a leader. You've got the sense of what it is, what the formula as to what you need to take life by the horns, but you also are looking for marriage, for example. Yeah. And people often don't know that. They always think that it just ends at the leadership part, but it actually means that ukutochaga and you yeah. And then you then move on to the last finger, which is the thumb. It means that you've got a lot of willpower and you have the freedom of thought and character to go through the notions of life.
Okay. All right. Well spoken. Thank you for that brief. At least now we know if I'm to ever have rings on my fingers, I know which one and which way to communicate to the public. Okay. Yeah. And perhaps how is fashion affecting our society? You know, I mean, I've noticed rings, nose rings, and earrings, ear piercings are now becoming more uh, common amongst men,
Mm.
um, and even you know, all over the face in different places. Even for the females, these were not there. If we go back 10 years from now, these were not so common,
Mm.
and now men have got piercings. How do you think that is affecting our society? Do you think it's a good thing or what?
Okay, for me, I subscribe to just, I mean, fashion is a fast changing, ever creative, ever innovative, and ever what can I say, unorthodox
Mm,
topic. You know what I mean? And everything everything that works around fashion at this present moment is simply communicated in whatever way one person can just do something and then it becomes a trend.
mm,
So I'm always happy to accept new and improved ways of communicating messages through fashion. And I'm not one to say, okay, so having a piercing, for example, on your right ear
mm,
means you're gay, for example.
mm,
Doesn't mean that at all. At times people always misconstrue, especially in my local context. Having a nose ring as a man, Chris Brown did it. He's very straight, for example, but here in Zimbabwe, it'll be uh, considered as a very strange thing to do. Having an anklet, for example,
mm.
that's also something that's considered as wild. So when it comes to this jewelry, when it comes to even just the fashion statements, I remember reading about the Bulawayo Arts Awards recently, and I was looking at some of the gallery. I was looking at the gallery in terms of the highlights that some of the artists, as well as just the general attendees, were clad in.
Mm.
You would find there were actually two gentlemen wearing the Irish skirts, and they made the
Oh
fashion
wow.
statement. It trended for quite a bit, and that's the kind of creativity I expect to see in my country. But they trended because there was still that notion and that stereotype hanging around that, okay, these guys may be of a certain orientation, etc., etc., which is not the case, which should never be the case, because people should dress as freely as they want, as they desire, and also try their best to express themselves through fashion, because it's one thing to dress and it's another thing to actually dress without saying anything, but still making a statement.
Okay. All right. And on that note, what are some of the obvious fashions that depict a person's status? For example, affluent. I mean, you can tell that this person is affluent. What are some of the things that you can tell with whether it could be gender, background, their sexual position in terms of homosexuality or whether they're on the other
Orientation.
side. Yeah, yeah. What are some of the obvious fashions that people should look out for or can look out for to tell some of these? Um,
Okay,
but-
so uh oh, that's a very crazy one. Why I wouldn't want to limit
yeah,
the especially the sexual orientation aspect
yeah,
is because, like I said, it's a fast changing world, it's a fast changing meaning, and it's also a very diverse melting pot of ideas of what one thing can mean and what the other can't.
yeah.
So I would always believe that, with that being said, I think I'll stick to mainly focusing on perhaps affluency.
Mm-hmm.
Suit and a tie is associated with affluency. I'll speak for the men as per usual. Unless you want me to speak for the ladies as well,
Yeah,
I
please go
can.
ahead. Please go ahead.
With my very limited knowledge of
Uh-huh.
ladies fashion, that is, a power suit as well for a woman. is always a big deal in terms of portraying that particular affluency, like I said. If you are creative, for me, fashion is your head to your toe. So you would often see creatives, even in the Zimbabwean context, even if they are working in a corporate space, which I always appreciate. Zimbabwean creatives always dress firstly in their jeans and a t-shirt. The t-shirt is usually branded with a brand of their choice or a brand that endorses them, and they always want to make a statement through their t-shirt, which is great. I really, really see that as something that is viable in terms of the networks and the things they touch. I also know that creatives love Marasta. There are people who love to have as much of a wild haircut or hairstyle as possible. So it's wonderful to know that that's something that you can quickly identify a creative or someone who just is in a space where they need to think freely, therefore they shouldn't be bound by their fashion. I mean, obviously, I'll also speak for the people who are happy to display their kind of perhaps technical or fieldwork jobs. So you would find that someone in that space always has something reflective. You would find, an engineer, where that's not even a work day, they prefer to wear their a worksuit jacket instead of a work jacket, which is great. That's a fashion statement in itself because it also gives pride to what you are doing and how you do it. Speaking of pride of what you're doing and how you do it, you would always see a doctor. Doctor is very good in terms of making sure that he displays. It's a fashion statement, by the way, because that stethoscope doesn't work when it's sitting on the neck. But trust me, it looks good and it's a fashion statement. Yeah. Very happy for the doctors. Lawyers also wear their gowns even when they're not going to work. Trust me, 50% of the time you see a lawyer wearing that gown, especially in a specific area in Harare CBD. Just know that they want you to know that they are qualified and certified. So more power to them. That's a fashion statement. And those are some of the fashion statements in terms of the professional spectrum. You would find people who have the interest and keen knack for getting into what we call hustling. Always have a nice pair of sneakers on, always make sure they have a set of jeans on, a t-shirt always works, and a cap. It's always a very basic kind of look, but it gets the message out that, okay, this is what I'm into and this is what I'm trying to do. I'm pretty sure with what I've just said, you can already see someone Bazimex.
Yeah, I have seen that. I walk past those people every day and now I know what they're into.
So that's the idea. So that's a little bit in terms of what you see and how you see and how you communicate what you do vis-a-vis what you wear.
That's a very amazing and unique way of portraying it. Thank you for shedding light on that. And I've never looked at it that way, especially with the doctors and the lawyers. The next time I'm gonna see them, I won't laugh. I'll just know in my heart that that's a doctor, and they're proud of their profession. And I noticed that engineers will wear, or even pharmacists will wear safety shoes a lot, with their jeans along with everything else.
That's one very important one. Yes. The safety.
The safety shoe.
Infamous safety. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I'm gonna ask you for a few of your would I say fashion role models, local, or maybe one local male, one international male, then one local female, and one international female, if you have.
Okay. In terms of dressing and I would say local for me, dressing and fashion. I subscribe to a gentleman called Craig Zui. I don't know if you know who he is.
Craig Zui. Okay. No, I've never heard of him.
Yeah. Craig Zui is he's a stylist and image consultant. So he's already in the business of doing that. And for me, it's always his manner of communicating what he does that gets me. But at the same time, he inspires me in terms of fashion. I will go ahead and say Pharrell Williams, on the other hand, in terms of international best dressed man. He's been on the GQ cover. He's influenced the fashion circles. He tries his best, and I think I would give him the credit in terms of some of the dressing templates that I use. I get inspiration from him. Yeah, in terms of females, I don't look into that so much, Ronald.
Okay,
but no. I'll take a whack at it. I'll take a whack at it.
Okay.
Around locally here in Zimbabwe, I would give credit to a specific lady who has a line of clothing which always is like crazy, but very, very what can I say, subtly, it's subtly phenomenal.
Okay.
Her name is Curtly Gwindi. She's an artist, but she's not an artist limited just to her music. She's also very, very powerful in terms of communicating through her fashion, and she's got a brand called House of Zinza, and I love her fashion sense for that. On an international scale, I would credit for her fashion, I would credit Heidi Klum, who started in the 1990s, and she was in the space of modeling, and she's always been someone who is on TV and movies, trying her best to just show off her fashion statements, and she's done it very well.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. If you don't mind, you can later type those names out, and then we can always have a look at them. Yeah. And then, all right. And then I'll need you to let's move on to some of the must-haves for every man in their, let's say, in their wardrobe. We've spoken about shoes, right? We said an original pair of everything. What must a man have in their closet for clothes? Must have the basics.
Okay, a man should have a black belt.
Okay.
A man should have a black pair of shoes. You should have an outdoor hat. So this is not like just a reed hat. This can be literal the material they use to make a basic hat. You can have, at least 3 caps that you use interchangeably. A watch. I always put emphasis on a watch. A watch, whether expensive or not, it's always important to, have something that you're proud of, and also just to refer time. Because you need. As a man, even if you don't have the money, you need to be able to give someone something, which is time. So if someone stops you and says, "Yo, what's the time?" You can get a watch to make reference to.
Okay.
A man will also need a few rings, just for the nights you feel fancy, or for the days you feel fancy. You also need, as a man, a very nice set of vests. So these are vests that you wear inside. That style of dressing is literally out, but to keep it traditional and for control, 2 or 3 white vests is not a bad idea.
Okay.
Why I say so is because, especially in the summer season, you can't be having a t-shirt that men sweat a lot, and men are literally have testosterone, which is which then has an effect on your glands, including the sweat glands. So that would be very important in terms of controlling that. I'm not going to limit it to fashion. I'll also take it down to hygiene. It's also a critical thing to make sure that you have a nice roll-on as well as a nice deo and cologne. Whether you don't have the money these days, Avon agents are literally there, left, right, and center. Everywhere
You're doing the most. They're doing the most.
So get yourself an Avon agent if you don't have the money for an original, perhaps a Versace cologne, whatever. Get yourself an Avon agent who can assist you in that regard. You won't go wrong, and you surely will actually be grateful that you have a scent that, and perhaps try your best to keep that scent to consistency. So what I mean is, if you buy one, make sure you continue buying that one, and you see until you probably die, because that's usually the idea, to have a consistent scent, to be identified not just by the way you look, but by your scent as well. Yeah, that's a few of the tips I can give out in terms of a wardrobe. Yeah, must-haves are must-haves, and must-haves should never be forsaken. They shouldn't be treated as a luxury. Yeah, a simple pair of chinos, an unstructured blazer. This just means that you need to make sure that you have a blazer that you can wear with anything. Indigo jeans, which are just your basic blue jeans. A staple pair of chinos. That's very important.
Staple? What does that mean? What do you mean?
Just to make sure that you have a pair of chinos that you are religiously tying yourself to, or that have a basic color. So by staple means, it means that you can link or attach them to any other color. Yes. And an Oxford shirt is not a bad idea again. A striped t-shirt. And in terms of shoes, you need just a derby shoe. A derby shoe is like a shoe that is applicable, can be worn with just about anything. So it can go to the smart side, it can go to the casual side. Yeah, that's basically it. And just try and lifetime pair of sunglasses as well.
All right.
Yeah, in the wardrobe.
Yeah.
In the wardrobe, whether summer or winter, sometimes people just need to look good or smart, and shades always do the trick. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about Venice. Okay. I understand you're a brand ambassador for Venice menswear. Let's talk about that. What's the clothing line? What do you offer there?
Yeah. In terms of Venice menswear, we're a men's apparel store that we're happy to be talking about all the time, because we are young and men are literally trying to make a statement through the way we dress, and Venice is the answer to that. So I'm excited to be talking about it, because we're not just limited to your formal menswear. We're also very excited to be also stockists of your casual wear and everything that is involved when it comes to men's fashion. So you will find everything in there, and you will make sure you leave with a smile and a bag of clothes that you'll probably wear for the rest of this year, considering it's November.
Yeah,
if you come tomorrow, you'll be good.
It's summertime, so of course we would be happy to do that.
We have stockists of that. Of summer wear as well, we do have your white sneakers. Basically, all the essentials I was talking about in terms of men's wardrobe. We have that.
Okay. Do you have Instagram pages for all this? I'll need you to share this with me, so that definitely someone who's listening right now is going to look out for it. Yeah.
So quick one, our Instagram pages are Venice Menswear _ ZW and menswear _ ZW. And Facebook would be Venice Menswear as well, Zimbabwe.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, interesting. And fine. This has been lovely. I don't know if you've got a few words to say to the men, to the young men, someone who's really. Oh, before I forget, before we go to the conclusion, what clothing items should men never wear together, or should men never mix together on the same body at the same time? What are some of the items? Yeah.
Okay, first and foremost, don't listen to Inky D, guys. Bachine Genie does not work. Your jacket and a pair of jeans is never a plan in action. It's okay. First and foremost, it's behind. Okay, I have so much to say on this topic. First of all, that's a backward way of dressing. It's out of fashion. But I mean, people still do things that are out of fashion and bring them back, which is cool and appreciated. So big up to everybody who's doing just about that. Yeah, another thing that shouldn't be mixed is just colors, man. Let's not try our best to have bright colors and faded or subtle colors. Let's be try and be neutral. If you're wearing bright, too bright that day. If you're trying to wear subtle, make it a subtle day. Yes, I know color blocking is in fashion, but try your best not to make a fashion sense out of it, a fashion mistake, sorry, a fashion error out of it, because it could end badly for you.
The fashion police will be on your case.
Yes. Try your best not to be someone who also, has long trousers. Always taper your trousers. Tapering is important. So having a tailor who's good at what they do. I mean, having a tailor is one thing, but have a very good tailor who you bank on. Because it could also look very, very ugly, even if you're wearing the most expensive suit. Don't have too many shirt buttons undone. I know I'm kind of diverting because you asked me what you shouldn't mix. These are like fashion errors all the same. So
that's so fun.
I'm also still trying to cover that at the same time.
Okay.
Try your best not to have jacket sleeves that are too long, or a baggy dress shirt, or you shouldn't button too many jacket buttons if you're wearing a jacket that has many buttons. And if you're wearing an undershirt, which is that vest I was talking about, try and not make it visible. So if you're wearing a white one, try your best to make it one that doesn't really stick out. It should be thin. White athletic socks at times, and making them stick out too much. It's a bit of a fickle. So try your best not to do that. Yeah, and then a full leather outfit. Never. Because you're out there looking shiny. Bad idea.
Like very special needs. You know that sort.
Yes. And that shiny suit, never wear a shiny suit. No matter what time of the day it is. So that's basically it. Yes.
All right. Okay, thank you for that.
Finally, a vest and a suit. Don't do that too.
Wasn't that R. Kelly type of style? I mean,
no. I'm not mentioning names.
All right, no, that's fine. Thank you for that. I mean, I had a good laugh there, and I had a few insights there, but that's good. Yeah. So, as I was saying, maybe you've got a few last words that you'd want to share. I don't know which group of men or women. Maybe it's the young man, or maybe something that's been burning, and you wanted to always air it out to the men. What do you have to say to the people listening in conclusion?
I mean, men make sure that we don't dress in a tacky manner. always try your best. If there's anything you're gonna remember from the specific conversation we had with Ronald today, which was absolutely amazing, by the way, is if you want to dress in a certain way, know that that's how you're going to be addressed. And dressing well is always a form of good manners. So with that being said, this is the Venice Menswear Brand Ambassador, Curtly Gwindi, coming to you live from Harare, Zimbabwe. It is an absolutely amazing day, and I am so happy to be on this platform, to be talking to you about all things fashion. And with that, thank you so much, Ronald, and a very wonderful listenership and audience. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, Curtly. Thank you, everyone, for listening this evening, this day, this afternoon. I don't know where you are in the world right now, but do not hesitate to reach out to us if you've got any questions. We're going to tag Curtly Gwindi in the post on our Instagram, and do feel free to listen in to every other show. We are the Gray Area. We air every Tuesday, and on the website called www.zalempire.com. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we will always remain in the gray, and please feel free to listen in. It has been good, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Gray Area. Goodbye.